10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 266. Hey everybody, welcome back into episode 266 of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us yet again. We've got a great episode today. We're going to be looking at a little excerpt from a solo on the tune Bluesette, played by the amazing, legendary jazz guitarist Joe Pass. Before we get into that, just wanted to give a shout out to some new Patreon members. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, Patreon is the way that this podcast keeps coming at you week in and week out. We are a listener-supported show, which means no advertisements on the program, and instead we keep the show alive with donations from listeners such as yourself. So if you'd like to find out about all the fantastic benefits you get by being a Patreon member and get yourself signed up today to support the show, go to our website, 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, and you will get instant access to all of the materials that we have over there. So thank you to our 4 new patrons today. Thank you to our new $5 patrons, Carl and James. And thank you to our new $3 patrons, Connor and Nicola. Thank you guys so much for joining up. And to all of the other over 300 patrons that we have over there, thank you for your ongoing support. It really means the world to us and keeps the show coming out. So again, go to our website, 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, and get yourself into the family today. All right, so let's jump into the episode. So this month, we've been continuing our rhythmic flexibility series, and we've been talking about 3/4 time. So I figured it would be appropriate for our Lick of the Month series to find a great transcription in 3/4 time and talk about one little interesting section of it. So what I've chosen to present to you is an excerpt from Joe Pass's solo from his album Live at Long Beach City College from 1998. And this is over the great Toots Thielman tune, Bluesette, which is a great tune in 3/4 and is in fact going to be our tune of the month this month. So I figured, why not pull something out of this solo? Now, this is an interesting one. He actually plays it in a different key. He's playing it in concert G major. And typically this tune is played in the key of concert B flat. So we've got that to wrestle with. And also, he's playing solo. So he takes a lot of liberties, but it is such a fantastic solo. And this one section that we're going to look at is so advanced and genius that I just had to present this to you. So just know that this is not the original key of the tune, and when we look at the tune next week, we're going to be putting it in the key that it's typically played in. So just know that this version is in the key of concert G major, which you will see on the PDF. So before we dive into it, I'm going to play the line for you, the little excerpt. It's at the top of the tune, and it's the first 11 measures of the form. So I'm going to play it at a bit of a slower tempo, and then at the end of the lesson, we will hear it at full tempo. But I want you to catch on to this at a slower tempo because what he's doing is extremely advanced, and he's playing with the time so much in the middle of the excerpt, like measures 5 through 7. He's really messing with the time, and it's going to be tough to wrap your ears around this. So I wanted to play it for you at a slightly slower tempo. So let's check out the excerpts, and then we'll talk about all the amazing things going on in this. Now, you could probably hear there's some really wild stuff going on in that. So I'm going to play it for you one more time, and I really want you to focus in on measures 5 through 8. Look at the PDF and start to maybe decipher a little bit what is going on before we talk about it in detail. Here's the excerpt one more time. Okay, So we're really not going to look at measures 1 through 4 or the last three measures of the excerpt because it's actually pretty standard stuff that's going on there. We are exclusively going to focus on measures 5 through 8 and figure out what he's doing both rhythmically and harmonically that makes it sound so out and makes it sound so effective. So let's start on beat 2 in measure 5. So what we see on beat 2 is an eighth note figure that is outlining a B minor concert triad. Then on the end of 3 in measure 5, he starts playing another 3-note eighth note line that is outlining B flat major. Now, when we get to beat 2 of measure 6, here's where the real genius of the line comes in. He's going to start outlining an A minor triad, but he omits the root. So what we see is we see these minor triads going down by half steps, but then when we get to the third minor triad, he only plays 2 notes of the triad, which throws the rhythmic scheme off entirely. So you're already getting used to hearing the full triad outlined. You get B minor, B flat minor. So you're expecting a full A minor triad, but then he only gives you 2 notes from it, the fifth and the third. And then he resumes the 3-note triads after that by going down another half step and playing a G sharp minor triad. And then the next triad we see is G minor, continuing our pattern of moving down by half steps. And then he goes to an F sharp minor triad, but again, he fakes you out by only using 2 notes from that triad. And then he ends this little phrase by playing an F minor triad, but switching to quarter notes. So if we were to hear the whole thing put together, it sounds so interesting. So we can see that the pattern of the descending minor triads stays constant, but what he does is he kind of flips the script on us. Think about this. If you're in 3/4 and you're playing a 3/8 note phrase, that is going to fit in the measure evenly, right? It's going to kind of split the measure. So if he were to play just descending minor triads in a 3-note pattern, it would become rather predictable. It would still sound really cool, but it would be predictable. So the way that he's displaying his rhythmic flexibility is by throwing in that figure of 2, which completely resets where the next triad is going to land. It is an extremely, extremely advanced technique, and what it really requires is just the ability to change things up like in an instant. Exactly when he wants to be able to do it, he can change things up. So what this does is 2 things, 2 really genius things. So the first thing that he's doing is he's stepping out of the harmony and he's superimposing just this chromatic minor triadic sound over whatever's happening in the harmony. He's basically disregarding the harmony. And then on top of that, which would sound cool on itself, he's also putting you off kilter in terms of the groupings that he's going to play. So what he's doing is he's obscuring the time and he's obscuring the harmony at the same time. And this provides for this kind of otherworldly effect where you're really not sure how he's going to land this. Your ears have not caught up with what he's doing harmonically because it's going by really, really fast. And he's hitting you with that double whammy of his rhythmic flexibility. His groupings are teetering from groups of 3 to groups of 2. So this is just mastery. This is just jazz mastery right here that is on display. And it has the coolest effect, especially at the tempo that he plays it at. So now let me play the excerpt a lot faster and you will hear the full effect of how this harmonic and rhythmic figure combines into this just amazing effect. And then he lands it right in measure 9 and starts playing some more, for lack of a better term, normal things after that. So really focus in again on 5 through 8 and check out the effect that this has. Just incredible, isn't it? That middle section, it just gets me every time. No matter how many times I play it or how many times I hear it, it's just so cool the way that he does that, the way that he combines those two elements to create this momentary shot to outer space, and then he comes right back in. That is really truly the sign of a jazz master, to have that flexibility and be thinking on that super, super high level. So maybe you don't transfer this exact idea into your playing because it's pretty advanced, but hopefully it can give you some new ideas, right? Help you to think outside of the box. Maybe you can take that harmonic idea of going down by half steps, picking a triad, going down by half steps. Maybe that's something that you can use somewhere. I just wanted to present this to you to show you what this work on rhythmic flexibility combined with our work on harmonic flexibility can produce at the end of the day. So I am fully aware that this is a lot more advanced than what we usually look at, and it may be kind of unrelatable depending on where you are in your journey of becoming a musician, but I just couldn't resist presenting that one to you. So if you've got any questions, a great place to ask those is in the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Community Facebook group, or you can always email me at 10minutejazzlesson@gmail.com. Remember to grab the PDF to really get the full effect of this line. You can really study it and decipher everything that we've talked about. This one won't be much without the PDF. And I will link to a YouTube video of the full recording, but you can grab that PDF by going to our website, 10minutejazzlesson.com, clicking on one of the Patreon banners, and you can get yourself signed up for instant access, grab the PDFs, the audio recordings, everything that we offer here. All right, we'll be coming back at you next week with a full etude over Bluesette that is going to demonstrate some of the concepts that we've talked about this month. Hope you're all doing well out there, staying safe and healthy, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week with a brand new episode. Bye, everybody.